name is
Super Magnetic Neo was meant to be the Dreamcast's Crash killer, but it ended up not really killing Crash. I guess you could say it just kind of kicked Crash in the shins while wearing plush shoes. Yeah, Super Magnetic Neo wasn't exactly culturally relevant like Mario or something. And maybe it's a good thing that they didn't really try to even be in the same lane as Mario 3D platformers, because Nintendo pretty much always tramples imitators. Also, I think Neo as a mascot wasn't that strong. Like, kids could probably identify more with a cool hedgehog with attitude than a sentient turquoise magnet with a face straight out of JJ the Jet Plane. Also, the fact that he's called Neo probably didn't help his star power since The Matrix just came out the year before, so if you started talking about Neo to someone, there's like a less than zero chance that they were talking about this.
It is I, Neo, on my way to beat the bad guys! Hey, wait! You even know where you're going?
And a 1 in 1,000,000% chance that they were talking about this.
Now join me in the mating dance of Zion.
All that being said, somehow in 2022, all those weird decisions are the exact way to appeal to me. I don't know why, but yeah, the Y2K vibes are just off the charts in this game, and that really is my jam at the moment. I mean, look at the loading screen, and look at the now loading font. But what you might be excited to hear about is that this game has more than just loading screens. It also has a whole game you can play. I know, shocking. Well then, who made this game anyways, and why is their logo the best thing I've ever seen in my life? Yeah, Genki developed this game. They were known at the time for putting out games that were kind of just on the cusp of being really good, but fall short in some ways despite their great potential. But that couldn't possibly foreshadow how Super Magnetic Neo would turn out, could it? Maybe we can learn more if we look at the developer's philosophy going into making the game. Oh, well, it seems they intended to make the game a hard-as-nails platformer, where the villain is a baby and the art style looks like a kid's game. Yeah, these looks can be deceiving because Neo went for a totally fresh approach in the 3D platformer space at that time. They spent a lot of time making Super Magnetic Neo super challenging, but they made sure it would never require a tutorial and that the game ran really smoothly to accommodate the intense challenge. The focus on these aspects didn't work out for them at the time, as many reviewers knocked them for the difficulty, and even though I agree with a lot of the criticisms of the difficulty, I gotta say that these aspects did at least make the game more interesting for me. However, some of the challenges I don't think they really intended to be so awkward to deal with at all. Like, for example, this game has the opposite of coyote time, whatever you call that. I guess it'd be like roadrunner time. Neo does kind of run incredibly fast, so I guess it checks out. Beep, beep. Yeah, the sprinting in this game feels like you're controlling one of those lizards who can run on water, and the mechanics of jumping out of a sprint take some time to get used to for sure. But in a way, that's part of what makes it satisfying. Like when I beat the game, I went back to the early levels and tried to beat the gold times that the game gives you, and I had such a blast taking the ultra-fast alternate paths the game leaves you if you're willing to take more risks. Also, these paths challenge you to master Neo's magnet abilities really well. These platforming sequences feel really flashy to pull off when you hit them all in a row. So these different paths add a lot of variety and replayability, but I only really felt compelled to revisit the beginning levels because I think it'll take me like 5,000 years before I can beat the gold times on those other later levels. This is because the game starts out pretty fair but challenging, but as it goes on, it becomes like completely masochistic. Some of the parts of the levels just require way too much memorization because not many of the obstacles really feel that reactable. This is at its worst during the driving type of levels. It feels like you have to memorize so much of the auto-scrolling obstacles that you may as well just be playing a weird rhythm game or something. You know, I actually think a lot of the challenges would be pretty fun if they were made in the modern era. Like, we're no stranger to hard-as-nails games nowadays, but the quality of life features of the modern day is what makes that difficulty level palatable for wider audiences. For instance, the fact that this game has lives is fun in the beginning because it makes collecting coins and 1-ups feel really good, but once you start losing lives left and right, it just feels like you'll never reach the end of the level without hitting a game over. So now you could go back to the first level boss and grind out lives until you have 99 or something, but that would take forever since the boss gives out 10 1-ups at a time, and it wouldn't be that fun to do every time you needed lives. In a modern hard game like Celeste or something, you'll die hundreds of times, but checkpoints are everywhere and there's no lives. Super Magnetic Neo has okay checkpoints, but a brutally punishing live system, so that makes me really want to encourage people to play on emulator and either save state their way through, or at the very least put the infinite lives cheat code on. You know, you don't even have to look at a modern game to see how much potential Super Magnetic Neo has when you remove these problems. You don't even have to look at another game at all. You see, Neo has a challenge mode that you can select on the main title screen that is a series of ultra fun but ultra difficult challenges that make really good use of the magnet powers. But what makes this mode such a smooth experience is that you have infinite lives and you're never required to repeat more than like a 30-second section. It makes the brain-melting challenges totally palatable, and if the main game had also implemented this kind of stuff, Neo might be remembered as fondly as Crash Bandicoot still is, or maybe it would have even gotten a sequel. But then you imagine Genki trying to do anything marketable with a walking magnet who makes weird eyebrows at you, and you remember why this IP was never going to be a series, no way, no how anyway. I really wish this difficulty balancing stuff wasn't such a huge issue with the game, because I'm sure it's put tons of players off. However, when Super Magnetic Neo is good, it's really fun, so it's sad to see this creative platformer that had so much potential be brought down so much by mostly just quality of life stuff. Although, okay, it's not just the checkpoints and lives, the level design is a straight up jerk sometimes too. Like, whoever plays the hurt box on these caskets, I want to have a long talk with you. Are you okay? Now, all that being said, I also really struggle with the Crash Bandicoot games and had to save state my way through those, so maybe if you're experienced with those, Super Magnetic Neo won't be too bad, I'm not sure. This game definitely controls a bit less tight and precise than Crash though, so keep that in mind. Yeah, I'm sure there are a few of you out there who are about to type, "Actually, Super Magnetic Neo is easier than Elmo's Letter Adventure, you just suck at games," in the comment section, but you know what, I suck at that game too, so what does that tell you? You know, maybe all that came off as too negative though. I still do really love a lot about this game. The main magnet powers gimmick is used in so many fun ways, and the level's visuals are always a treat even when the level design in them is more a trick than a treat. Oh, and it must be said again that these early levels are like just straight up super fun. They aren't butt-twistingly hard like the later ones, so they have a lot of fun, well-designed challenges. Also, the game is really well optimized with short load times, smooth 60 FPS, and mostly consistent physics. Like, it's not like they didn't know they were making a tough game, that was the intention, and they balanced the game for that. But yeah, all that work kinda doomed this one to be pretty niche, at least over here in the West, where we like baby games like Putt Putt Goes to the Moon. Oh, and actually the power-ups that allow you to take multiple hits are actually not in the Japanese version, and bosses don't give you a bunch of one-ups in that version either, and that happens to be the fastest version for speedrunners? Godspeed to you all like 4 of you. But anyway, gameplay isn't everything when it comes to games, and when it comes to everything but gameplay, Super Magnetic Neo totally nails it, especially in the presentation department. Like, the cutscenes are so good and just absolutely hilarious in the weirdest way, especially this one big dude who's always just sipping his drink. He's not a boss fight or anything, he's just there to end each cutscene with this iconic sip. That is like the best 2 seconds of any piece of media ever. There's no real story here, just funny little skits with these weird villains. Oh, and the opening cutscene is like the most off-the-wall hilarious thing ever.
What are you babbling on about, Petey? Can't you see I'm in the middle of mixing up my secret bongo noodle recipe?
This professor stirring noodles will always get me. These cutscenes are a welcome comedic relief that help you not take the game too seriously, and they're just chock full of wacky and cool art. The art in the levels is no slouch either. They went all over the place with the level themes, but the fact that they barely stuck to any one idea for too long made this game so aesthetically varied in a great way. This art style feels so Dreamcast, with its colorful and surreal visuals, always having a new surprise right around the corner. I also love that this game has such a weird as heck hub world. Like, you can't really do anything here, but they clearly put a lot of love into these areas, and it paid off because it made unlocking a new world feel really special. As you go, you'll also be getting to hear more and more new music, and that's another reason why I wanted to keep going with this game. There are some awesome tracks on here that feel very of their time in the best way, and still hold up so well. You've got these super pretty moments. You've got plenty of funky beats. And you've got a lot of weird kind of techno electronic stuff. all comes together really well as one cohesive sound for the game that adds a lot of fun to the experience. There's 16 levels and 4 bosses, all with unique tracks, and there's even more tracks than that, so it's impressive how consistently good it all is. Now, it's a shame I can't say that exactly for the gameplay that accompanies those tracks. However, even with that being said, I would still recommend you check out Super Magnetic Neo, as long as you're experienced with 3D platformers and you don't mind controlling a character whose head looks like the back of a toilet. No, really, give this one a shot if you want a platformer that will totally peel your orange and leave you feeling like a god gamer if you make it to the end. Enjoy the Y2K visuals and sounds, literally from the year Y2K, as you laugh like crazy at the bizarre cutscenes. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make a quick one about my thoughts on this overlooked Dreamcast platformer. So thanks for watching, and let me know if you try out this one and what you think, because the Super Magnetic Neo fandom is dying and it needs your help. Retweet this image to save the Super Magnetic Neo fandom. Okay, that's all I got for Super Magnetic Neo. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks again for watching.